Welcome, vinyl community, to what is the Vinyl Tag 2019. I was a little bit hesitant to participate because last year I thought the questions were a little bit on the dodgy side, to say the least. But the year before was a lot of fun, 2017. So I thought, since a lot of you are uploading your videos yesterday and today, they're all making the rounds, I thought I would peek at the questions. And I think they're more than doable this year. I think they're a lot better than last year. And I've had a couple people ask me if I was going to participate. So you know what? Via YouTube, virtually, between you and me, this is me throwing my hat in the ring for the Vinyl Tag 2019. So I'm going to preface this by saying that the questions are taped up right there so I can read them. Because you guys know I'm not going to be able to remember 20 questions. And I'll post the questions down below in the little description, so if you want to follow along. But the questions, as I have written out here, are paraphrased to make things a little bit shorter, make them run a little bit smoother, as it were. So from Pac-Man, from Nazz, Nomad, to you, YouTube, VC. Cheers, everyone. So we're going to get right to this. Number one. Your best find of 2018. If you follow me on my channel, you know that I admittedly I have a lot of really cool finds, unusual finds. To narrow it down to one or a couple best finds is really hard for me without going through all my videos, which Lord knows I'm not doing. It's a lot of videos. You guys know I've had some awesome finds in London and all over Europe and Canada, etc., etc., etc. So, just browsing through my collection, I'm going to show you something that I just had. I showed you last video, and something that I was just kind of breezing through my collection, and something I pulled. Because, you know, like I said, if I would have recorded this video tomorrow, it would have been 2 other or 3 other things. Like a lot of these questions, everything's interchangeable, depending on what your whim of the day is. But this is number one I'm going to show you. I'll show you this last video, is the Smiths. Canadian promo, 7-inch of How Soon Is Now. Rarest hen's teeth. Never thought I'd ever own this, ever hold this in my hands. Like I said last video, what's great about this is it has the edited version, which makes it handy for DJing. So the Canadian promo of the Smiths, How Soon Is Now. And this one, I believe I got this past summer from an online ad. Excuse me, but it's Peter Green, ex of Fleetwood Mac. I can't remember what year this was. This was just after he left Fleetwood Mac. An original UK reprise records pressing of The End of the Game. Only time I've ever seen this in my life, an original UK pressing. Peter Green, something I've always wanted. Found this via locally. Who would have thunk? Anyways, Peter Green, End of the Game. Next question is shoutouts to vinyl community channels who you think deserve some more attention, for lack of a better term. The proper wording of the questions down below. What I do is I went through my subs, people I sub to, and there's a lot of people. This is where you risk offending people, because why didn't you mention me? If I don't mention your channel, it's because, you know, I've either name checked you before. I've seen your channel kind of grow exponentially over the past year, and I think you're doing just fine. Like Hannah, Billy Hurst, Vinyl Richie, people like that. You know, your channels are kind of like on par with mine. So I'm kind of looking at people who, and the odd thing is a lot of people stopped making videos. A lot of people who I really liked, I went to their channels and they haven't made a video in a year or so. Like merely Chris. I really loved his channel, and he doesn't make videos no more, at least not that I know of. So like I said, I went through people I sub to, and these people who I think deserve a lot more attention for various reasons. Number one, although I name check this guy a lot, and I'll mention 2 people that I mention a lot, is Vinyl in the Van. A lot of you follow him. If you don't, you should investigate his videos. The guy's a fucking rock star, and a lot of stuff that he shows in his chosen genre, I end up picking up, and the guy's never wrong. The guy's got really incredible, great taste in music. Like I said, for the music he likes, and so that's number one, Vinyl in the Van. like I said, you need to sub to him. And Matt Hayes. Matt Hayes makes great videos. He shows a lot of music that we have in common that I don't necessarily talk about on my channel. So a lot of the 80s singles and 90s singles that we kind of that I have in common with him. He shows on that, and it's great to watch that stuff. So Matt Hayes, Vinyl in the Van. Not that this is in any kind of running order, but so I just want to go through my people I sub to, and if I don't sub to you, you know what? Let me know. Drop me a link. I'll check out your channel. Still spinning. Nathan Bouchard, Mike Mason, Alex spins vinyl, Pretty Green vinyl guy, Zeke the Vinyl Geek. He's awesome. He does a live stream most Saturday mornings, and the guy has a really good taste in music and really good record collection. He has a cadence, and the way his videos flow are quite nice. I like that. Craig Vinyl. Craig I've known for a long time. Craig, we should make more videos. Christopher Peterson, DJ High Noon, Spinning Greek, Golden Vinyl Spin, Linda Legg, SW Studio Productions, Linda L.E. I wish she would make more videos, but that's another one who endlessly entertaining, and of course Trish Mullins. So DJ Trish. So to you all, and if you didn't catch any of those names because I went too fast, just rewind like it's a VHS tape, and you can catch those names again. Cheers, everyone. I'm out of breath already. Number 3, holes to fill in 2019. I'm assuming we're talking about vinyl. You guys all know the stuff I'm collecting now. You know, I go through phases, and I kind of more or less get up to speed on an artist, and I'll rediscover someone I haven't listened to in a while. So, like, you know, it might have been Mark Bolan and T-Rex in the past, and you know, Kiss is never I've never deviated from Kiss, and I'm always looking there's always Depeche Mode stuff. The recent bands I've kind of rediscovered is, you know, Mott the Hoople. Always kind of collect Golden Earring singles. There's a couple Golden Earring albums I don't have, which are really hard to find. Bands like that. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know the bands that I'm always trying to fill in gaps of. But, like, you know, there's the mainstays, like from the 80s, Depeche Mode, Duran, stuff like that. And, you know, right now it's Mott the Hoople, and I'm only a couple albums away from Mott the Hoople from having them all, like Mad Shadows, and there's one other one. Golden Earring, I could go on and on about the singles I need, stuff like that. So, like I said, if you've never seen my channel before, you know, if you want to know what kind of stuff I'm collecting, what kind of stuff I'm into, it's all over the map. As you guys know, it's everywhere. So it's kind of hard to mention specific holes I'm filling, but those are some of the ones that I mentioned. Cheap albums you can buy that are really great, and that's all relative to your country, because I'll go to Germany and there's Canadian rock bands that you can get here for $1. They're everywhere. But you go there and they're €20. So it's all relative. But I wanted to mention this one is one of my favorite. This is a perennial $5 album where I'm from, or less. It's Split Enz, True Colors. Massive. Obviously, they're from New Zealand, Australia. I think they might be one of those hybrid bands, New Zealand, Australia. They were massive in Canada, and none of their albums go for more than $5 because they're everywhere. In fact, every time I see Neil Finn or Crowded House here in my city, and I've got a chance to meet him after the show, he always talks about him having to throw in a Split Enz song in a set that they wouldn't necessarily do anywhere else to appease the Canadian fans because they're still so big in Canada. But Split Enz, True Colors, maybe one of the best $5 you'll ever spend. At least that's what it costs in my country. Like I said, can't lose with that one. Number 5, favorite side project albums. I'm going to talk about 2 different things. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. I couldn't, as I'm dropping albums here, I couldn't necessarily pin down one album. You know, you could talk about Blind Faith, or you could talk about, you know, things like that. But trying to think outside the box is I want to talk about the various side projects of the band Ministry. And back in the day when I was a teenager, I used to blindly buy anything on the Wax Trax label or anything as a side project of Ministry, like PTP, Acid Horse, Revolting Cocks. But what I want to talk about is something that's not on Wax Tracks, but is a Ministry side project, is a band called Lard. This was Ministry and Dello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys. They had a song on the Natural Born Killers soundtrack. If you don't know Lard, you have that soundtrack, you might be able to hear them there. But this EP, this is their first EP, and they had the Last Temptation of Reed album, which is fantastic. Absolutely amazing side project from Ministry and Dello Biafra. And then kind of a similar thing is Palehead, which is on Wax Tracks. It's Ministry and Ian Mackay from Fugazi and Minor Threat. Very, very just amazing. Anything with Ian Mackay is going to be great. You combine that with Ministry, just amazing. So that's what I wanted to talk about, was the kind of the various side projects of Ministry, and two of my favorites were being Lard and Palehead. There you go. And then on the other side of the spectrum, I wanted to talk really quickly something to do with pop music, and that's Arcadia, which is a side project of the band Duran Duran. They did this album, So Red the Rose, in response. This is 1986, I believe. They did this in response to the Power Station. Duran Duran splintered, and John Taylor and Andy Taylor from Duran Duran did the Power Station with Tony Thompson from Chic on drums and Robert Palmer on vocals. And then Simon Le Bon, Nick Rhodes, and Roger Taylor said, well, screw you guys, we're going to do our own thing. Whereas Power Station was a hard rock thing produced by Bernard Edwards from Chic. They did this insanely, by their own admission, it's the most pretentious album of all time, So Red the Rose. It's got David Gilmour on it, it's got Grace Jones, it's got Sting, and it's gloriously pretentious. And it's maybe one of my favorite albums ever of this kind of music. But as pretentious as it is, it's absolutely brilliant. So Red the Rose by Arcadia, it's more like art pop. Anyways, highly recommend Arcadia, So Red the Rose. Next question. I'm afraid of skipping questions here, but songs that are uncharacteristic of a band's catalog. And I'm gonna have to skip forward because I'm out of order here. But more or less, the proper wording's below. But it's kind of a song that a band's released that is not atypical of their catalog normally. And I would be remiss if I didn't go with the Osmonds' Crazy Horses. If I can get that on that one. Like no other song they ever recorded. If you've not heard Crazy Horses by the Osmonds, you gotta go listen to it. Drop this video, go listen to it. It's worth it. Like I said, you would never think a song like this is something that they did. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Absolutely incredible song. Crazy Horses by the Osmonds. Like nothing they ever recorded ever again. Where are we now? Last album that you purchased is this one. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I plan on making a separate video just about this album for a particular reason. You'll see coming up. Radiohead, The Bends. Bought this yesterday. I'm not going to talk about it too much because, like I said, I have a video, so stay tuned for that. And you'll see why I'm making a video about Radiohead and that album in particular. To do great album, bad cover. And I have to go, I mean, there's a lot of bad covers with great albums, but something that's kind of close to me is this one. End of the Century by the Ramones. Why? This was poised to be their huge breakout album. It's produced by Phil Spector, we all know, or some of you might know. It's incredible. It's got that wall of noise, but it's got that pop sensibility from Phil Spector. And they were poised to break out. And then Sire Records and the higher-ups made them scrub up and clean up. No leather jackets. This is all airbrushed. Nice, clean, squeaky Ramones. And it's maybe one of the worst covers ever. It's just, let's get the Ramones in colored t-shirts, no leather jackets, not looking like the Ramones. Cleaning up the Ramones and having a Ramones album inside is like polishing your car before you smash it into a brick wall, if you know what I mean. Let's clean them up before they go on stage and rip your head off, kind of thing. But just incredibly great songs, great pop songs in the style of the Ramones. You know, Rock and Roll High School, do you remember Rock and Roll Radio? I'm Affected, Danny Says, I can go on and on and on, Chinese Rocks. A lot of people think this is a lesser Ramones album. I call bullshit. Great album. The cover is... Next one is a bad album with a great cover. And I struggled with this one, but I had to go with this one. Phoebe Cates. You know why? It has Phoebe Cates on the cover. This is a Japanese album, or an album that was only released in Japan. And it's got Phoebe Cates. It's by Phoebe Cates, the 80s actress. She's on the cover. Included is a calendar by Phoebe Cates of Fast Times at Ridgemont High fame. We're talking about the pool scene. Yeah, so if you're an 80s guy, you know what I'm talking about. The album inside is absolutely friggin' horrible. It's the mushiest, just worst, soppy, sentimental shit I've ever heard in my life. But I bought it on eBay on a whim, because whoever sees albums by Phoebe Cates? Well, I did, and I bought it, and it's friggin' horrible, but it's, like I said, it's got the Fast Times girl. Gremlins girl, too. Cheers, everyone. Next question is blues album. Did I skip one here? No, blues album. A lot of my blues and country albums are packed away at the moment because I'm reorganizing. If you saw my last video, you know I've added a new shelving unit to my already massive amounts of shelving units, but some things haven't found homes yet. So the one I did have on hand is maybe one of the most polarizing figures, not just in music, but in blues, is Joe Bonamassa. A lot of people hate this guy. Not because of his music, because a lot of you might know what I want to talk about. He's probably one of the preeminent guitar collectors in the world. And he loves to tell you about it, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. He likes to say that he is sharing his collection. And a lot of people, it rubs people the wrong way. They think he's showing off. For what it's worth, a lot of people call it jealousy, call it whatever. A lot of people do not like him. They think he's a big show off. But that doesn't diminish his music. You can't deny his credentials as a blues guitar player. And this is a live album called Live at Royal Albert Hall. He has a lot of live albums out. This one in particular I really love. It's got a really nice cover of Just Got Paid by ZZ Top. And it's one of the few live albums he actually does, The Ballad of John Henry, his big songs. If you're looking to get into some Joe Bonamassa, just forget about his early albums. They suck. Start later on. The album with, I can't remember what the album title is, with The Ballad of John Henry. Start with that one, and move yourself forward. His early ones are really him just learning his craft. But like I said, you can't deny his talent as a guitar player, as a blues guitar player. Joe Bonamassa. Had I had more of my blues albums readily available, I would have showed you Live at the Regal by B.B. King, things like that. But this is the only one I had on hand. An earworm song. This is the only question that, like, last year was full of questions like this, I believe. Kind of like, what? You know, questions that kind of make me go, not but songs that get in your head. Typically, people answer with novelty 70s songs or novelty songs that have a catchy chorus that were huge and they kind of get in your brain, you know. But there's nothing like that I can really think of. And the one I had to grab was the Monkees' Porpoise song. If I can hold that up right. Whenever I happen to play or hear the Porpoise song, it's off their album Head, from the soundtrack to their movie Head. I end up singing that song for days on end, especially the beginning. And I'm not going to sing it for you. But if you've not heard the album Head, you've not heard the Porpoise song, and if you've not seen the movie, just indulge yourself, treat yourself. But that's the only thing I could think of readily right now. And after I finish recording, I'll think of five other songs. But more the Porpoise song by the Monkees, something that kind of gets in my head a lot. Historically important artists. This one might take a little bit to explain why. A lot of people talk about the Beatles, Hendrix, Stones, Zeppelin, things like that. And I kind of wanted to go outside the box on this one and talk about female bands. And I want to talk about the Go-Go's from 1981, Beauty and the Beat. The Go-Go's, for some reason why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame don't want to acknowledge, but they're full of shit anyways. They were the first band, all-girl band, all-female band, who played their own instruments, wrote and recorded their own music, who went number one around the world. Yes, there were female bands before them, like the Slits, and you can see the Shags for that matter, who played their own instruments, but no one achieved the success that the Go-Go's did. And that, you have to remember, at around 80, 81, no one wanted to hear from the Go-Go's. They got turned down by every record company. No one would touch them with a 10-foot pole. They thought that girl bands at that point were unmarketable, if I can spit that out. And everyone passed on them. And then Miles Copeland, the owner of IRS Records, home of REM, etc., he saw some value in them. He signed them. He cleaned them up because they were kind of like a scuzzy punk band before that. But they had the songs. They had the songs still, even though they were leaning towards the punk end of things look-wise. Cleaned them up, made them look like the girls next door. And like I said, the songs didn't suffer from it. The songs were still the same songs. Gave them a makeover, and they went number one around the world. And I firmly believe, and I will argue anyone about this, if it wasn't for the Go-Go's, and then bubbling under the Go-Go's were bands like the Bangles, who were kicking around the LA scene at the time, but couldn't get a deal as well. It started a snowball effect. And then you started seeing female bands who wrote their own music being signed. And I maintain wholeheartedly that if it wasn't for the Go-Go's in 1981, that was the pinpoint moment where all female bands who, like I said, wrote and recorded their own music were taken seriously, or were seen as something that companies could sell. You wouldn't have had, later on in the late 80s, early 90s, you had, things like L7, 7-Year Bitch, part of that grunge scene, and then you had the Riot Girl thing. So would you have Sleater Kitty? Would you have PJ Harvey? Would you have, like I said, L7? Would you have all those bands like that? Even the girl groups of today, would you have them without the Go-Go's? I don't know. It might have been something different, but I think they kicked the doors open, not to be too cliche. But they were the ones. Make no mistake about it. And you could say, yes, the Runaways. You could say, like I said, the Slits. You could say all those bands like that. But by and large, they didn't write their own music all the time, and the Go-Go's did. And they didn't achieve the success. The Runaways were still a novelty kind of thing. But the Go-Go's they were on the cover of the Rolling Stones. They were the ones that broke it big, and record companies looked at it and said, yes, this is something we can market, it's something we can sell, and it gave girl groups a chance. So, like I said, I don't think female bands today would be anywhere near as sellable as they would be without the Go-Go's. That's who I want to say is an historically important band to female artists and female just female artists and female bands. There you go. Album you owned due to your parents. I've talked about this a lot before in my other videos, but my dad introduced me to things like Talking Heads, Motorhead, Kiss, but his go-to music was country, was Conway Twitty, Willie Nelson, things like that. That's what he gravitated, Johnny Cash, that's what he gravitated towards, and he had all these fringe things that he kind of introduced me to later on in life when I was a young teenager. But I hold true this one here. This is the Highwaymen, and like I said, a lot of my country albums are packed up at the moment. So, but I have this on hand. The Highwaymen was an album that he absolutely loved, and I maintain this single in his memory in a special place because he loved this album. And it's got you got Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, Johnny Cash, and Waylon Jennings. It's everything my dad loved, all wrapped up into one. He loved Conway Twitty, so if we would have had Conway in the corner there, it would have been complete. But that's what that's kind of what stuck with me from my father. And my mom loved pop music. She loved hits, she loved pop music. When I grew up, she was playing Boney M, and she was always playing ABBA. ABBA stuck with me, and I don't feel bad about that because, you know what, they are, as far as pop songs and pop writing, they are pop-tastic, the best pure pop songwriters of all time. You can't deny that. And, it's not, I don't put them on very often, but it's something that's kind of stayed with me from my mother. So, wherever you are, Mom, cheers. I'm kidding. I know where my mom is. Okay. Best dollar bin find. And I've showed this before, and I'll show it again. Something has yet to displace this one as my #1 find, but it's an original UK mono pressing of Tyrannosaurus Rex's first album. And I always have to read it off here because I'll never remember it. My people were fair and had sky in their hair, but now they're content to wear stars in their brows. Tyrannosaurus Rex, if you don't know, is Mark Bolan, who started Tyrannosaurus Rex, who later morphed into T-Rex. And this was in a thrift store, dollar pile. It has the original, this is on Regal Zonophone Records. It has the original inner sleeve, advertising all the albums on that label. And it's worth more than a few bucks. Let's just put it that way. Original UK mono pressing of Tyrannosaurus Rex. My best dollar find yet as of date. As of this date that I can think of anyways. Favorite double album. This is, by the way, if you're keeping score at home, this is number 15. Like I said, the questions are down below. Help yourself. Kiss. I'd be crazy if I didn't pull out a Kiss live double album. The best live album of all time. Yes, we know it's overdubbed, but a lot of live albums are overdubbed. Trust me. Kiss Alive. I don't even know what more you can. I would say I gotta have some Kiss album in here. Kiss Alive. I mean, what? Kiss Alive. There's nothing more I can say about it. Number 16 album you learned about from the vinyl community this year, and I have to apologize. I know Vinyl in the Van, the aforementioned Vinyl in the Van, has showed this. But I've conversed with someone, and I pressed record, and I brain farted, and I forgot. Someone from the UK who showed this album, and I was talking to them back and forth about it. So if you're that guy from England who I was talking to, and I'm brain farting on who it was I'm talking to, I'm sorry. I feel like a dick. Just leave a comment and say, yeah, that was me. It's a band called The Heads. This was the album that was showed a couple of record store days ago. It was available in the UK as a limited record store day title, and that's the one I was conversing. And I feel like a dick for forgetting your name now. But I know Vinyl in the Van has shown it for sure. But this is called Everybody Knows We Got Nowhere. And I kind of got struck by the cover and by the description of the music. So I took it upon myself to investigate, and it just blows my mind apart. Psychedelic, hard rock, like you've never heard before. So, The Heads are one of those bands that I discovered this year via the VC from 2 different people. And so I went and got this at a record fair, just after talking to this gentleman about it. And then I went into a local record store in my area called Listen, and I said, listen, I love this album. What else do you recommend by them? And then he recommended this one. This is this is the triple album reissue of Racket RKT by The Heads, which is even better than that other album I showed you. It is insanely good. So The Heads, not to go on too long, was maybe my best discovery of a band in 2018 from the vinyl community. 10-inch record, number 17. Could have grabbed one of many. I wanted to show this one. One of the best post-punk bands in America that a lot of people don't know about. Well, from America. This is from early 80s, mid 80s. It's a band from Omaha, Nebraska called For Against. And this is a very, very rare 10-inch original pressing on, what is this? It doesn't really matter what label it's on, but it's In the Marshes EP. And one of my proud moments of life is finding this one. Stamped number 51 on clear vinyl. Much like the T-Rex, it's worth more than a few dollars. But For Against, value aside and rarity aside, the For Against was one of the best discoveries that I've had in the last 15, 20 years. Like I said, from Omaha, Nebraska, and they turned out such amazing, dreamy post-punk music. I could go on and on and on, but Amen Eves off this album was the song I heard first. And I bought this way back when. I found it way back when records weren't so valuable as they are now. So this was not that expensive at the time. But For Against, In the Marshes EP, if you don't know For Against, from Omaha, Nebraska, they're still around. but their great records are from the mid 80s, mid to late 80s. A 7-inch record. I think where did I put my 7-inch record? I was going to pull for you. That's okay, because you know what? The one I pulled for you was one I showed last year. And I think I have it over there. You know what? I'll show something I recently got in the mail. Split ends. Another split ends one. Bold as brass. Something I've been after for years and years and years. And I got this in the mail. Stay tuned for my next video, because I'll talk about this one in depth. Split ends, bold as brass. And I feel like a real, like I said, like another dick, because I had one pulled in. It's gone missing in this mess. We'll go with split ends, bold as brass. Favorite album to fall asleep to? Considering I don't fall asleep to vinyl, I don't recall how people are answering this, generally speaking. And the CD I have for this one is in storage at the moment, because I can't house all my CDs in my new house. But I'm going to show it to you on my MP3 player. In fact, what I like to fall asleep to isn't necessarily music. I listen to podcasts, and my favorite podcasts, still to this day, even though they're a little bit older, the Ricky Gervais, Carl Pilkington, Stephen Merchant podcast. That's my go-to fall asleep to thing I listen to. But as far as music goes, the KLF. This is my MP3 player, one of my MP3 players, since I can fall asleep to this in my speaker dock. An album called Shoutout by the KLF. One of the first true ambient albums, along with the Orb. But if you have not heard the KLF's Shoutout and you don't fall asleep to it, then you're not human. It's a great album, I will say that. But on top of that, it's very insanely relaxing, and probably, in my estimation, probably the best ambient album ever made. Ambient electronic music album ever made, in my opinion. So, KLF, Shoutout, on my old MP3 player. It's a Zune. Not an iPod. That's a Zune. You saw a Zune on YouTube. I shit you not. Favorite VC... This is the last question, by the way, number 20. Favorite VC experience or advice for people contemplating making videos? I have a lot of good experiences touching base with a lot of people. I've met a lot of awesome people over the past... I can't remember how long I've been doing this for, a couple years. Maybe 3 years, I'm not sure. But... I can make a whole other video about the favorable experiences I have, because apart from a couple of bumps with a couple of people that you got to ban, everything's been great with people, and I've met a lot of really great people who live all over the world. Holland and England and Australia, I mean the US, and then, you know, Tirana. We don't like to talk about Toronto on my channel. It's a hockey thing. But I want to talk about advice I might have. I get asked this a lot. Advice, something I can make another whole video about if I wanted to. Advice for people who are contemplating making or starting a YouTube channel for vinyl is, this goes back to what I was talking to before with people I wanted to give shout outs to. People have stopped making videos, and I think not necessarily, I don't know the reasons, but what I'm guessing at is that, and some people have, actually that's not true, some people have said why they're quitting is they get frustrated at putting the effort in and no one's watching their videos, or not enough people to their liking, I guess. And you got to have reasonable expectations and grow your channel. And in order to grow your channel, you got to have something to say. Conversely, there's vinyl channels that get tens of thousands of views, and they're the most vacuous, mundane pieces of shit channels I've ever seen. And I'm going to say it. Actually, I just did say it. There's a lot of super popular channels out there that I just think are pointless. And they make the most lowest common denominator vinyl videos just to get the views. That's the truth in my mind. But be willing to grow your channel and be realistic with the views. Because if you're looking at those channels and you're seeing 10,000, 20,000 views, or like my channel, 1,000 to 2,000 views, depending on what video I'm posting, and you're expecting that right out of the gate. Well, I had to grow this, and you got to give it time. And it's not production value, as long as you got a nice clean image and you're not, you know, and things look aesthetically nice. You know what? don't worry about all the little doodads that some people do. It's what you talk about. And have something to say other than showing vinyl. Something interesting. I always try to have something interesting to talk to people. Not that my channel is a be all and end all, but since I'm being asked, that's the advice I have to give: is be patient, grow your channel. I don't even post my videos to YouTube anymore on the vinyl community channels. I don't even post them up there anymore because they don't do anything for you. It's just white noise. There's so many other channels advertising on there. It's just get yourself known, and just like I said, if you have something to say, got interesting music, people will watch your videos, and just don't be a dick where you're alienating your people, who are nice enough to watch. Take the time out to watch your channel. And like I said, don't get caught up with fancy intros. Don't get caught up with making 1,000 edits. Don't get caught up with fancy graphics. You all know, I press record. I have a screen cap that I put printing on. The odd time I do an edit, fucking was it 3 times a year, 4 times a year I do an edit? Press record and go and talk. Don't have a script, just talk and say what's on your mind and show your records. Don't worry about the same intros everyone else has of some scratchy poppy record, and you're putting a needle on a record and you're watching it spin, and then your channel name above pops up. There's a lot of people, not disrespecting those people, but there's a lot of channels that have that. There's nothing different about that. This is just, that's my advice I have to give to you. Be patient, grow your channel. And you know what, if 30 people watch your video, be happy for that. That's 30 people who took time out of their lives to watch your video. So it's not a dick measuring contest, but you against some other person that you see on YouTube. Be happy with what you get, and if you get more than that, great. That's my advice I have to make is be happy, grow. Do your videos for the right reasons. Have something to say. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, make it at least somewhat reasonably looking. I see a lot of vinyl videos that look like they're shot in like it's a Blair Witch Project. It's just dark and then a flashlight. At least make it somewhat aesthetically pleasing where there's lighting and stuff like that. But don't worry about all the fancy shit, all the fancy graphics and editing and blah, 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 blah. As long as it's a clean beginning, clean ending, and you got something to say, you're gonna be good to go. That's been the Vinyl Tech 2019 from David Michael, aka Nazz Nomad. If you've taken time to watch this video, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And watch out for my next videos. Oh yeah, another thing I want to say is advice I have to say, don't pander for subs and contests and likes and like and click the bell down below for notifications and all that. Fuck. People will find you. If people like your videos, they will find you. Don't be pandering. I never say sub. Please sub. Let's have a contest so I can get more subs. If you watch, you watch. God bless you. I love you all. So anyways, that's kind of another aside. And yeah, Vinyl Tech 2019, David Michael. Stay tuned for more videos this week because I got them locked and loaded for you. Cheers. From a very cold Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, David Michael signing off.